Hi guys, welcome to another altcoin analysis video. Today we will be covering rows and we will be looking at buy areas, potential returns and TP areas for both the USDT and the BTC pairs, and we will also be going back and recapping the analysis we did in the video back in October. So if you do enjoy our content, please do like and consider subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate it and it does help us out massively. So let's get straight into the price action then and zoom in. So we are on rows on the USDT pair weekly time frame, and as you can see, it looks extremely bullish. So we consolidated in this range for a very long time, broke out finally above the range high of 7.8 cents, held it as support for a little while, and then had this big impulse candle, and we topped out just around shy of 15 cents. We've had a pretty decent pullback into this area here at just over 10 cents, about 10.7, and holding this as a potential higher low on the higher time frames, which is extremely bullish indeed. And also, if you whack a fib from the start of the run up to the top, you can see that this level of 10.7 cents lines up with the 382 on that fib. So looking extremely bullish. Now, do we hold this level and continue up, or do we break down lower and potentially test the 0.5 and 618 and maybe even well, the 618 lines up quite nicely with this weekly range high at 7.8 cents. Now, there's obviously arguments for both. You could argue that Rose has been one of the stronger performers in this rally. There's been several days over the past couple of months where BTC's either gone sideways or down, and Rose has held its own and even rallied against BTC, which you'll see on the Rose BTC pair. So there is a chance that Rose continues this strong uptrend and only has a shallow pullback to the 382 before continuing. Or, as I say, there's arguments that we could see some volatility from BTC, especially this week with the ETF news, and maybe Bitcoin dominance continues to rise as it has done over the past couple of days, and altcoins continue to bleed as they have done the past 2 weeks or so. And so we may get this drop lower down to the 0.5 or the 618 retest this weekly range high. However, we have already tested this weekly range high, as I said, when we initially broke out back here at the end of November, start of December. So there is an argument to say that we don't really need to revisit this area. All this liquidity has been bought up and we may be setting that higher low as I spoke about. So we'll have to wait and see. My personal opinion, if you haven't got any rows or you're looking for an area to top up, this isn't too bad of an area at all, but definitely keep some dry powder just in case we do get that volatility over the next week or two and we see alts drop a little bit, and we could get those orders filled around sort of sub 10 cents, as I say, around that weekly range high area of about 8 cents. You never know, and you can always just buy into strength if that drop doesn't happen. If we just zoom into the daily time frame as well, a nice potential trigger on the lower time frames. We've got this daily level here at 12.3 cents. As you can see, strong support in the past over the last few days before we broke below back what's that, 2 days ago over the weekend. Bearish retest yesterday, so that could be a potential trigger. If we get a daily close back above 12.3 cents, then strength has returned. The 382 was all the retracement it needed, and it could then make its way up to the highs and maybe obviously local highs and break away from there. So something to keep an eye on, or from a trading perspective as well, a potential trade there if you wanted to jump on that. So let's zoom back out again and just quickly recap what we talked about on that video back in October. I believe it was the 23rd of October, so this weekly candle here, and I said about getting all your buying done in this range whilst Rose is still low, particularly this second at this bottom half of the range here between 3.4 cents and 5.5 cents, because I said you don't want to be scrambling to build a position once we break out of this range, and that's exactly what's happened. So hopefully you got all your buying done, because as you can see, come up, consolidated around just below the range high, popped up above, held it at support, and then off we went. As well, what I mentioned in that video was some TP areas. Let's just get those back on our charts. There we go. So I talked about potential TP areas where you could take a little bit of profit off and then use that capital either to re-inject back in as you retest levels of support lower on pullbacks, taking out as profit, reinvesting it into other things, or just simply taking it out as cash. One of those areas, the first one, was this 11 cents area, as you can see. So it was support back here back in March and April of 2021, resistance here in August of 21, and then resistance most recently in July and August 2022. So I thought there was going to be a little bit of a struggle to break through this area. In the end, it turns out we burst straight through, and now we've come back down into this area and actually holding it as support. So if you did take a bit of profit there, you could easily just re-inject it back in, or hold your nerve if you only took a small part of your position out and see if we do get that drop back down to the weekly range high, which is what I initially thought in that video. I said I thought we'd come up, test 11 cents, drop back down to the weekly range high, and then go off on another leg. Didn't quite get it right. But no one's crystal ball is 100% accurate. But that's pretty much what I talked about in the last video, and then of course we'll go over the BTC pair in a minute. But let's just say you didn't get all your buying done in this weekly range, or maybe you got most of it done and you're looking to add more to fill your bags, or maybe you've not seen Rose before and it's only just taken your eye because of the most recent run it had, and as I said before, one of the top performers in the most recent run. So let's say worst case scenario, you're buying your entire bag here at about 11.8 cents. So let's go over what potential returns you've still got to look forward to if things go the way we expect it to and return to all-time highs. Remember, returning to all-time highs not a guarantee, but yeah, let's just hope for the best, shall we? So let's take a look at where the first TP area would be. So that is up at around 18 cents, give or take. You can see very strong area of support and resistance on the higher time frame. You're looking at a 52% return there, not too bad. As I said before in the previous video, you could take 10% off there and hope that we come back down and retest this area of support at 11.5 cents, although maybe that's unlikely now. We've already broken through it and coming back down to hold it as support now. Next TP area, so from today's prices, you are looking at a 100% return, so doubling your money up here at 25 cents, of course, around 12 cents up to 25 cents, double your money. Next TP up here at 35 cents, you're looking at 200% return. As you can see, very strong level of resistance and support in the past, so definitely an area to be taking some profits in my personal opinion. You could then see a drop maybe to this level here at 30 cents, or maybe even all the way down to 25 cents. Re-inject that capital back in if you wish. Next TP area would be up here at 45 cents, give or take 45 cents, and you're looking at a 273% return. As you can see, very strong area of resistance here back in November and December 2021. And then finally, a return to all-time highs from today's prices. You're still looking at about between 340%, which is where these weekly candle bodies close, and then the actual all-time high up at just shy of 60 cents. You're still looking at a 400% return, so not too bad at all. As I say, if you are jumping in now based on the fact that you didn't get any buying done here, or maybe you weren't aware of Rose, but we've had a decent impulse, we've pulled back into a decent level of support, the 382 on the fib, weekly level, and looking for a potential higher low on this higher time frame. And even if we have a look at the percentages, it's done a 30% pullback, although from today's price is 20%, so you're still getting in at a pretty good discount. So as I say, it's not the end of the world if you didn't get your buying done. There's still plenty of opportunities there, in my personal opinion. And of course, we could smash all-time highs. Who knows what's going to happen? But you definitely want to be taking profits along the way, just in case we don't. You never know what's going to happen. Or as we saw in the last cycle, BTC gave a 50% pullback out of nowhere, and a lot of gains were lost. Of course, altcoins suffered very badly in that dip, so it's always nice to have some dry powder just in case we get those pullbacks. And as I say, probably not the best idea to go all in right now. My personal opinion, if you're trying to start building a bag of Rose, I'd buy some here and then have some orders down here at the 0.5 and 618, just above that weekly range high, about 7-8 cents. So I'd sprinkle some orders between 10, 9, 8 and 7 cents. Anyway, let's move on to Rose BTC. So let's go to the monthly. And as I talked about in the last video back in October, I talked about getting your buying done in this range, where monthly range high 160, monthly range low 106, and mid range 133. We only tagged the mid-range, as you can see, and then bang, we were off. Broke out, strong breakout, as you can see, a really strong rally. So let's go from the bottom to the top, about 170% in BTC. So as I spoke about just a minute ago, Rose has performed very well against BTC in the last couple of months. If we break it down to the weekly, and let's get those target areas back up that we talked about in the last video. So I talked about these potential TP areas in the last video. So the first one was here at about 230-ish sats. And as you can see, we came up, tagged 230 sats, pulled back. I think that's about a 20% pullback. Let's just have a look. There you go, about just shy of 25%. So you could have re-injected that BTC back into Rose, and then we pumped up to the next TP area, which was 350 sats on the nose, as you can see. And now we've had another decent pullback, just shy of that previous level, or that first TP, which was previous resistance, now support. And as you can see, a 30% pullback from that second TP area as well. So you can see that that TP strategy would have worked very well on the BTC pair side of things, much better than the USDT pair. But as I say, that's why it's always worth taking a small bit of profit along the way, even if it's only 5-10%, because you will get those pullbacks and you can inject that capital back in. But again, let's take the scenario that you didn't get your buying done, or you didn't convert your your BTC into Rose down here in this monthly range, and you wanted to do so now. Again, pretty good opportunity to do so. We've had the impulse, we've had the pullback, as I just showed you, 30% pullback onto a potential higher low weekly level of support. So not a bad area to be getting involved in at all. So let's take a look at what these profits look like if you were going to convert some BTC into Rose today. So from today's price, we're looking at 263 sats as I'm recording the video. So back up to this level of resistance here, 35%. You're probably not going to want to take profits here though. It's already been tested a couple of times, most recently 2 weeks ago. It's very likely that we break it on the next attempt. So I would actually be looking at the next one, which would be 475 sats, and that's about an 80% return on your BTC. Not too bad at all. Next TP area above that, you're looking at 700 sats, which is 165%. After that, from today's prices up to just shy of 900 sats, you're looking at a 242% return. As you can see, big level this one. I expect this, and to be honest, both of these TP areas, very big levels of resistance, as you can see. Definitely expecting a pullback at those. As I say, you can then potentially re-inject that BTC back into Rose on the pullbacks back to these levels of previous resistance, hopefully flip to support. And then finally, this one up here at 1,240, 50 sats, 363%. And then to the absolute all-time highs, if we get there, is a whopping 425% back on your BTC. Now, the example I used in the previous video, which I will link at the end of this video for you to go back and watch if you like, but the example I always use for the BTC pairs is ADA BTC, and that is that all-time highs are definitely not guaranteed. If we go and take a look, please just ignore this, I'll get rid of that. If you take a look at the previous cycle, so 2018, ADA BTC topped out at 8,775 sats. The last cycle, it only topped out at 6,000 sats. So particularly in the USDT pairs, all-time highs aren't guaranteed, but certainly not in the BTC pairs. BTC gradually building strength against all coins over the cycles, so you could end up not hitting those all-time highs in the BTC pair. So just be aware of that. Take profits along the way, certainly in the alt BTC pairs, because there's nothing wrong with sitting on some BTC in my personal opinion. I think that's probably the units you want to be accumulating, certainly throughout a bull cycle. So hope you found that useful. Hope you enjoyed the video. Where are you looking to buy Rose? Where did you buy at? Where are you looking to take profits? Let us know in the comments. Have a good day, and I'll catch you on the next one.